The moment the front door clicked shut, I let out a sigh. It had been a long day, and all I wanted was to drop onto the couch and forget the world existed. But before I could even take off my shoes, I felt a presence. She was standing in the living room, watching me. Lyria. Tall and graceful, her silver-blue skin shimmered faintly under the warm apartment lights. Her long, dark indigo hair cascaded over one shoulder, and her violet eyes held a quiet intensity that always made me feel like she was studying me on some level beyond human understanding. She wasn't just my roommate, she was an off-worlder, part of the government's interspecies integration program. 3 months had passed since she moved in. 3 months of getting used to her quiet presence, her endless curiosity about human customs, her strange but oddly charming habits. She never failed to surprise me. "Welcome home, Rin," she said, her voice smooth as flowing water. I dropped my bag beside the couch and exhaled. "Yeah. Long day." She tilted her head slightly. "Did something distress you?" I shook my head. "Just work stuff. Nothing interesting." She stepped closer, her bare feet making no sound against the floor. "I was researching today." I paused, glancing at her. "Researching what?" Her violet gaze didn't waver. "Human mating." My brain short-circuited. The air suddenly felt heavier. I wasn't sure I had heard her right, but the way she was looking at me, calm, expectant, made it clear she wasn't joking. What?" My voice cracked slightly. Lyria blinked. "I was studying human relationships. Their physical aspects." I swallowed, trying to play it cool. "Oh. You mean, just general research?" She nodded. "Yes. But also specific interest." I stared at her, feeling my pulse pick up. "Specific interest in?" "You," she said simply. My stomach flipped. I let out a nervous laugh, running a hand through my hair. "Lyria, you can't just say things like that so casually." She tilted her head, genuinely curious. "Why not? It is the truth." I exhaled slowly. I should have expected this. Lyria never danced around subject. If she had something to say, she said it. She didn't understand human awkwardness, didn't grasp the weight of certain topics the way we did. Still, hearing her say it so bluntly did something to me. "You've been thinking about this?" I asked cautiously. "Yes." She stepped even closer, now just inches away. I could feel her warmth. "I want to understand it." I felt my throat go dry. "Lyria, human relationships don't work like that. It's not just something you try like a new food." She studied me carefully. "I know. That is why I ask you." My heart skipped a beat. She wasn't just curious. She wanted me. I took a step back, needing space to think. Lyria didn't move, but her violet eyes tracked me with that same calm intensity. My mind raced, trying to figure out how to respond. "Lyria," I started carefully, "you do understand that humans don't just mate for the sake of it, right? There's emotion involved." She nodded. "I have researched this. Humans form bonds, attachments. I have observed the way they touch, how their expressions soften, how their voices change when they are close to someone they desire." The way she said it made my skin tingle. I cleared my throat. "Right. So you understand that it's not just physical. There's more to it." Her lips parted slightly, as if considering my words. "That is why I wish to experience it with you." I swallowed hard. "Lyria, this isn't something you just test out. You can't approach it like an experiment." She frowned slightly. "You misunderstand. I am not conducting an experiment. I feel drawn to you, Rin." She hesitated for the first time, as if choosing her next words carefully. "It is unfamiliar to me. Zalari do not experience emotions in the same way humans do. But when I am near you, I sense something different. I wish to understand it. And I wish to understand you." Something inside me tightened at her words. Lyria was always composed, always logical. Seeing her struggle to define what she was feeling made something deep in my chest ache. I exhaled slowly, running a hand down my face. Lyria, are you sure this is what you want? Not just because you're curious, but because you feel something. She took another step forward, closing the small gap between us. Her fingers brushed lightly against my wrist, just a whisper of a touch, but it sent a jolt through me. Yes, she said softly. I had spent months getting used to her presence, to her quiet beauty, to the way she asked questions about everything. I had told myself over and over that we were just two people sharing an apartment, that it didn't mean anything more. But now, standing this close, feeling the warmth of her touch, hearing the sincerity in her voice, I knew I had been lying to myself. I wanted her too. I let out a slow breath. Lyria, if we do this, it's not just about curiosity. It's about us. She nodded, her fingers tightening slightly around my wrist. Then show me. Her voice was barely above a whisper. And for the first time, I stopped holding back. The days after our conversation felt different. Lyria didn't bring it up again directly, but I could feel the shift between us. The air was charged in a way it hadn't been before. Every glance she gave me seemed to linger. Every brush of her fingers, every accidental touch, sent heat through my skin. And I wasn't imagining it. One evening, as we sat on the couch watching a movie, I caught her staring at me. Not in the curious, analytical way she usually did, but in a way that made my chest tighten. I smirked. You're staring. She didn't look away. Yes. My smirk faltered. You're not even going to deny it? She tilted her head slightly. Why would I? I enjoy looking at you. I had no response to that. My heart was pounding too hard. The movie played in the background, but I wasn't paying attention anymore. Neither was she. Lyria shifted closer. Not much, just a few inches, but I felt it. Her presence, her warmth. The tension between us had been growing, and I knew, it was only a matter of time before something gave. Rin, she said softly. I turned my head, and suddenly, she was right there. Her violet eyes searched mine, like she was waiting for something. Permission? A sign? I swallowed hard. Lyria. Her fingers reached up, hesitating for only a second before brushing against my jaw. It was such a simple touch, but it sent a shiver through me. You make my heart feel strange, she murmured. It is not unpleasant. I exhaled shakily. That's what attraction feels like. Her lips parted slightly. Attraction. She tested the word like she was tasting it for the first time. I nodded, my throat dry. Yeah. Her fingertips trailed along my jawline, light as a whisper. And if I wished to go further? I felt like the world had narrowed down to just the two of us. If we do this, I said slowly, it's not just about curiosity anymore. You understand that, right? Lyria leaned in just enough that I could feel her breath against my lip. I understand. And then, she closed the distance. The moment her lips met mine, everything else faded. Lyria was careful at first, as if testing the sensation, learning the shape of me. But when I responded, when I tilted my head and deepened the kiss, she let out a soft, surprised sound against my lip. Her fingers curled against my jaw, then slid into my hair, holding me there as if she didn't want to let go. Heat spread through my chest, pooling in my stomach. Her lips were soft, warm, and eager in a way that sent a shiver down my spine. I had imagined this moment, more times than I cared to admit, but nothing compared to the reality of her in my arms, responding to me with growing urgency. When we finally pulled apart, her violet eyes were darker, filled with something new. Something unspoken. She took a slow breath. That felt different than I expected. I let out a shaky laugh. Good different or bad different? Her fingers lingered against my skin. Very good. My pulse thundered in my ears. I had never seen her like this before, so open, so unguarded. The ever-curious, logical Lyria was gone. In her place was someone who had just discovered something new, something intoxicating. And she wanted more. She traced her fingertips over my lips, her expression thoughtful. I understand now why humans place so much importance on this. I swallowed hard, trying to focus. It's not just about the physical. She nodded. Yes. It is the connection. The feeling. She paused, her gaze searching mine. I feel something for you, Rin. My chest tightened. Yeah. Yes. Her voice was steady. Certain. It is not simple curiosity anymore. It is you. I let out a slow breath, lifting a hand to brush a strand of her dark hair behind her ear. Lyria, this isn't just a moment, okay? If we go forward, it means something. She leaned into my touch. I want it to mean something. A warmth spread through me, deeper than attraction, deeper than desire. This wasn't just about experience for her. This wasn't just research. This was real. I cupped her face gently, my thumb tracing along her cheek. Then let's figure this out together. Her lips curled into a soft, almost shy smile, something I had never seen from her before. Together. And as she leaned in again, I knew there was no going back.